Last year, applications for asylum increased by 20%, with these trends expected to continue into 2012. Sourcing predominantly from Asia and Africa, more than half of those accepted were headed for new beginnings in Europe and the United States. Their escape from persecution, war, and violence in their own countries involves governments and peoples all over the world, making their plight a complex and pressing global issue. Civil war, poverty, ethnic conflict, and damage to the environment are leading causes of refugee flows. Stories of trauma, struggle, and great endurance are the norm, as in the case of Raf from Sudan. Just 5 years old when the war broke out, Raf's family faced a grave risk, targeted because of their minority religion. Despite relocating to the south, they were still in grave danger. Raf's parents sent him to Kenya in a truck, where he spent almost a year living in a crowded and attack-prone refugee camp. He was fortunate, managing to be reunited with his older brother and given a new beginning in the developed world. Raf's case is exceptional. He is the one in 100 refugees given the opportunity to relocate to a safe and prosperous place. Of the 15.6 million formally recognized refugees, more than 80% are hosted by poverty-stricken developing countries. As populations continue to grow, civil wars remain ongoing, and environmental degradation worsens. Numbers of refugees are set to soar in the coming years. Fewer and fewer are able to return home, and with numbers increasing, there is a blatant need for a more durable action strategy to be implemented. Dealing with refugees is truly complex. Many have experienced extreme personal trauma, torture and poverty, living in unstable environments, targets of violence and human rights violations. From this volatile setting, they may, like Raf, gain asylum in a foreign country. They are physically safe, but must now learn to deal with the trauma of their past, as well as integrate into a vastly different culture, language and society. This is the personal cost. Tensions are also created when large numbers of refugees establish themselves as new minorities within ethnically or culturally homogeneous societies. Poor integration can lead to anti-refugee sentiment and perceived oversaturation, leading countries to close the door to those in need. Accepting refugees implicitly affects trade and diplomatic relations with source countries, especially where it is deemed illegal for people to flee. Resources are necessary to fund and feed vast numbers of people without homes or employment, stuck in indefinite transition. Foreign aid agencies assist by donating food and supplies, running camps, and supporting applications for asylum. At present, the UN Refugee Agency uses 3 strategies for dealing with refugees. Repatriation is the most obvious long-term solution to displacement. However, the home country must be stable and willing enough for exiles to return and live in safety. Statistics show the number of refugees returning home is at a 20-year low. Resettlement involves permanent placement of refugees in a third country. This is an option for less than 1%, and the divide between resettlement places offered and those needed is massive. And resettlement itself raises key issues of cultural identity and integration. Local integration involves refugees becoming citizens in their place of temporary asylum, and repeats problems related to cultural integration. Repatriation, resettlement, and local integration strategies provide a durable solution for only a tiny fraction of the refugee population. For the majority, these ends are unattainable. They live indefinitely in camps, which are often poorly run, under-resourced, and vulnerable to attack. It is not a realistic aim to stem the flow of refugees, but by implementing the following measures, the UN could significantly improve its response to the situation. The UN must provide immediate logistical support for developing countries hosting asylum seekers. Greater oversight of resources and camp infrastructure would minimize wastage and environmental impact, and improve the quality of life of inhabitants. An improved temporary solution means better care for the majority of refugees, for whom a more durable solution is unrealizable at this time. Implement strategies for better cultural integration. This could involve language classes, improving awareness and tolerance of cultural and religious differences, and providing practical education. This would allow refugees to have the skills and understanding to contribute to the host society and live in a dignified and harmonious fashion. Increase public awareness campaigns to encourage the international community to provide assistance for refugees and direct specific attention to the causes of their displacement. International presence or intervention is instrumental in preventing and stabilising conflicts and minimising environmental damage. These are at the heart of the refugee problem. Although not always diplomatically viable, international watchdogging in problem areas could help to prevent displacement and keep people safe in their home countries. Wars, natural disasters, and other causes of displacement will never cease. But with the implementation of these measures, the UN's response to this global humanitarian crisis would be significantly improved.